Brodes Media.
I'm so happy that I was able to fill in for John Johnson on Monday overnights because I got an opportunity to talk to the people about how special this is. And that matters to me. When I was growing up, well, actually, it was way past growing up, but when I was playing junior hockey, and I lived in Boston for this particular season, we lived next door to a D3 college football house. So it was our junior hockey house living next door to a college Division III football house. It was chaos, as you could imagine. But one of the quarterbacks on the team I still talk to this day. Love him. Big sportsman. And he really showed me the impact of the beauty of sports. And when I got to field phone calls and talked to someone who was driving home to North Carolina, and it was his first game ever at the link, he went with one of his best friends. It was a snow game, and he was talking about how romantic it was when the first time he laid eyes on the link when he was walking up to the stadium. Then I got a phone call from a man who has 5 daughters. He was receiving a phone call from one of his friends, and he said, "I have 2 tickets. Would you like to go?" He ended up taking his 13-year-old daughter to one of their first games ever together. And she couldn't stop talking about how awesome it was, the snow. And you know what I said? I said, dude, think about this. For the next 30, 40, 50 years, whenever she talks to someone about how she became an Eagles fan, why she became an Eagles fan, she's going to reference that moment with you, Pops, in the stands, watching Saquon Barkley run for over 200 yards against the Rams to advance to an NFC Championship game. She's going to talk about the snow. She's going to talk about the second half. She's going to talk about Jalen Carter and his dominance. And these are beautiful moments. I got another one. And these people weren't even at the game, but it was a mother who said that she was watching with her family. The son was screaming, going crazy, going bonkers, going nuts. And he was so thrilled and he was so happy, and it made her so happy. And I'm going, this is what it's about. So sometimes we get lost in the why was this third down call the call? Why did you screw up this decision on 4th down? How come you missed a tackle? And look, full transparency, yeah, I'm a part of that sometimes too, no doubt. I do this for a living, of course. I get sidetracked into it. But when moments like Sunday evening happen, where the community was all together, when that anxiety and that adrenaline and that feeling in your stomach, you know your entire community felt the same way with you. And when you got that dub, that appreciation to find a way to gut it out, and your quarterback to go into the blue tent, to come back, to have bootlegs left to the right, making passes a couple yards downfield, Saquon being a machine, putting the game away before you have to sweat it out again when he didn't want to, but you had to, but you still won. And that deep breath that we all probably took at the same time, right? The whew. It's probably bigger than that. It's probably like, whoo! And we did it, and we exhaled together as a city and the surrounding areas around the city. It's important. It's the beauty of sports. And I don't want that to get lost here. It's not very often, even though it does seem to happen recently, it's not very often that you get an NFC Championship game in your own building. It's a difficult thing to have. And we get it a lot, okay? We do. Since 2017, and even way before that with the McNabb era and Andy Reid and getting to NFC Championship games and all that stuff. This is phenomenal. And I want you to embrace it as we lead up to the Washington Commanders. That's sort of my PSA to start this show. All right. So why don't we take a listen, because I have a bunch of audio for you and your phone calls as well. I want you all to listen to Chris Sims, who was on with Kay Adams, and he makes me shake my head in disgust. He does, because what he states makes 0 sense. Zippity, none, nada. Just a disgusting way about processing this football game, essentially. It's just a terrible way for your brain to consume football because it's so irrational. All right, here's Chris Sims on the Birds.
Have the best team, but you think that they'll be in a position right now this week going up against the Commanders where he will mess up. Why?
Oh, well, not mess up. I don't think that. I just think they got to play better. And listen, some of their struggles in their pass game, I don't put them all on him. They're a little too simple with what they do in their pass game schematically. That's one of their big issues altogether. And as you saw yesterday with some of these long touchdown runs, they can run the ball on anybody. It doesn't matter how many people you put in the box. It's one of the greatest offensive lines in the history of football, what we see in Philadelphia. And they can win a lot of games the way they're winning right now and the way he's playing. I'm just saying if they want to maybe win this weekend or have to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, the passing game, the offense we saw, and again, not all Jalen Hurts, but what we saw yesterday, that will not get it done. They will not win the Super Bowl if that's the passing game we see, or even this week against the Commanders, right? I mean, that game yesterday, let's say it was 130 plays. The Rams definitely won the majority of those plays. If it's not for 2 strips by the Eagles defense and basically the 3 long touchdown runs, I would say you take away those 5-6 plays there, the Rams football team won the majority of the plays on the field in the game that day.
What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? If you take away the greatness and the elite play of Jalen Carter, if you somehow remove an electric running back that is having an all-time season, and if you take away Jalen's ability to have a 44-yard touchdown to the house, and if you remove a first-round draft pick like Nolan Smith, forcing the other team to take the ball away, the Rams would have won. What? If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. Are you kidding me? I mean, what are we doing here? That's why this team is so great. Because you have a number 1 defense. Because you have a phenomenal running back. Because you have a great quarterback who does not turn the football over, because you have an outstanding offensive line. Everything you just laid out on if you change this, if you change that, that's who they are. That's what they do. That's how they win. And they win a lot. They don't win a little. This way of attacking, this way of performing, this way of dominating, it's every week. So it's obviously sustainable to some capacity. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to win the next 2 games. I don't know where this thing goes, even though I have a lot of faith in this group, because sometimes the recipe could win. You have a bad day, and it doesn't mean the recipe's faulty. Your team just had a bad one. And sometimes people wake up and they have bad days and they don't do their best job. And that is very possible to happen to anybody. But it doesn't mean the recipe is just a disgusting one that can't have some serious truth to it. This works. And what this defense has done under Vic Fangio is turn the other team over. And what this offense does is run the football down your throat, and they don't turn it over. Boom. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. But what you can't do is say, if you change 5 or 6 plays, how embarrassing of a take is that? A lot of these playoff football games are one possession. If you change one or two plays in any of these games, yeah, it swings it. Well, if Jalen didn't have the turnover in the Super Bowl, yeah, but that's what happened. And I love this. They can't continue to win this way. I hear that every week. And I'm not even joking. Every single week on a Monday, we hear some version of national media. We hear some version of local media spin it where if they don't clean it up, if they do this, if. And now we're hosting an NFC championship game. So I just don't understand, and it bothers me that I get trapped into this. Because as I mentioned the start of the show, as I mentioned to kind of kick things off here, it should be about appreciation. It should be about joy. But then I hear dumbass takes like this, and I start to see red, and my face starts to turn purple, and my veins start popping out of my forearms because I want to punch somebody in the face. Because when you disrespect my guys, I got to step up. And I have learned to love this group more than I've loved a lot of groups. Because there's something that smells like dominance. There's something that smells like outrageous, insane, disgustingly fantastic, beautiful football. And that's this team that laces up the cleats at the Link. And they're amazing. And I guess it's hard for people to realize that Jalen is extremely intelligent. You do know that Jalen has been checking at the line of scrimmage, which then allows for this team to score touchdowns in the playoffs, right? This whole he can't read a defense thing, he's checking into certain formations and plays at the line because he sees what the defense is showing. And then from there, he counters it. Saquon, boom. You get good blocking, boom. Because of the way Jalen sets things up. That Dallas Goedert touchdown against Green Bay. Jalen sees, he likes his matchup. He then goes, yeah, this is the matchup we like. Let's kind of boop, Goedert. Boom. Touchdown. And he doesn't turn it over. He's not perfect. Look, I get it. The sacks, it's annoying. He seems to be holding onto the football a little too long. But there is a method to the madness.